Good morning. We'll just give people a couple of minutes to get into the webinar before we get started. Welcome, those of you that are joining us. We're just giving people a chance to get onto the webinar. We'll start in a minute. Just another few seconds to let people get into the webinar, those latecomers, and then we'll be starting. Right then, let's get going. Good morning. I'm Helen Wallace, UK Market Development Manager at Scotland Food and Drink. Before we get started, I need to let you know that we're recording this session today. This means that we can share the recording with you, so there's no pressure to note everything down as we go along. I'm here today with Fergus Younger from SAOS and John Forteith representing the SWA to welcome you to our Delivering Growth Through Wholesale webinar. This is the start of an exciting journey. It's brought to you by a collaboration between the Scottish Wholesale Association, Scottish Agricultural Organisational Society and Scotland Food and Drink. And it's aimed at bringing wholesalers and Scottish food and drink producers closer together. The project was originally conceived by the Scottish Wholesale Association. They recognised that there was an increased appetite amongst their members for local sourcing, and they created a steering group of wholesalers who are keen to demystify the sector and provide real-life guidance and support for producers. There's a recognition that wholesale is often not the first choice of sales channel for producers, and this project sets out to understand and address any issues behind that. We're going to provide insight and tools to make wholesaler relationships easier, and we'll be working with wholesalers as well as producers to remove barriers and support wholesalers in developing regional sourcing strategies. Ultimately, we want to aid you in developing mutual understanding, opportunities to work together, and to increase sales and profit for all. So during today's 30-minute webinar, we want to encourage you to give some more thought to wholesale as a channel that can help grow your business. You'll hear about project objectives and how we'll deliver support and the Meet the Wholesaler event that we're planning. So Fergus will tell you about that. I'll give you some insight into the size of the opportunity and why we're championing this project at Scotland Food and Drink, and John will give you a little more information about the programme content. You'll notice there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen which you can use to post questions, which we'll answer as many of as we can at a session at the end. And we'll finish with a little more information about how you go about getting involved. Firstly though, we've got a short video to share with you. Before I play it, just a quick public service announcement. If your connection means that the streaming quality isn't great, don't worry, we'll share a link afterwards to make sure you get a chance to watch it at your leisure in its full glory. But we're streaming it from YouTube to give you the best chances possible of a decent streaming.
Hi, I'm Colin Smith, Chief Executive at the Scottish Wholesale Association, a membership organisation and Scotland's official trade body representing food and drink wholesale distributors. Our sector, made up of independent and national operators, deliver almost exclusively to the 5,000 convenience stores, 30,000 hospitality, tourism and leisure venues, as well as the hospitals and schools located the length and breadth of Scotland. SWA are here to represent our members at the highest level of government, but as you'll see in this film, we work with our members and other trade bodies to grow not just their sales, but that of Scotland's food and drink pie. We're here to strengthen and promote wholesale as a channel that is flexible and a resilient route to market for producers and suppliers, and work collectively to fill the capacity in our vehicles, reduce our waste, help find new packaging solutions and decarbonise the wheels to Scotland's food and drink industry. Wholesale is a dynamic route to market for everyone involved, so let us show you what our members and our sector have to offer.
Our purchasing is driven by our customers. Over 5,000 retail units and 30,000 food service venues. Their asks are in turn driven by their consumers. We work with our suppliers, large and small, to ensure that their products are wanted and that their message is on point. Our approach with suppliers is partnership-based. We offer them access to our telesales and field sales teams, access to key accounts, access to our digital media and promotional activity. We grow the 20 or 30 local customers into 2,000 or 3,000 national outlets. We take ownership of the stock and the debt. We develop distribution channels previously unexplored. During the pandemic, many wholesalers have made significant digital investment and have pivoted to new routes to market, using technology to widen our reach.
My name's Gary McLean. I am the owner of a sustainable seafood restaurant in Edinburgh called Creel Cot. I'm also MasterChef Professionals Champion. Buying food through a food wholesaler is beneficial in many, many reasons. One is it cuts deliveries. Also, the choice that you can get in one drop is incredible. The paperwork trail is much easier, so you're getting everything on one invoice. And the communication and the expertise that's on the phone and can come in and see you every day, I think makes a massive difference. So you're always finding out what's new, what's coming in, and what's probably better for your business. The reliable and regular deliveries that come in really help me. Getting everything on one drop really saves me time, energy, and money. Since the pandemic, customer attitude towards food has completely changed. There is a demand for people to be buying food and sourcing food that's local to them. And I think this is where wholesalers have, for the last 10 years, have really changed, where they are bringing on small suppliers, some of them with only 1 or 2 items that I don't think would have ever got to market. So it gives us, the buyer, an amazing range of food that, again, I don't think we'd have ever seen before. Bringing producers into the marketplace, helping them get to market, helping them with their due diligence, helping, sometimes with packaging, deliveries, all of these things are all helping us, the chefs, get local produce on our menus.
As we are released from the grip of COVID-19, facing a drive to grow a fairer and greener economy, we at the Scottish Wholesale Association see tremendous opportunities ahead to deliver growth through developing Scottish and local supply chain partnerships.
Hello everyone, I hope that streamed okay. It certainly streamed well where I am. I'm Fergus Younger. I'm a project manager with SAOS. It's nice to see so many of you on the call. I can see from the list of registration there's a lot of folk I know, and we've talked about routes to market and channels and challenges. So I'm really sort of hopeful that this project's going to be good for you guys and a helpful experience. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the program. Next slide, please. Okay, yes, so I think the program is quite exciting because it's really going to try and help bring yourselves and the wholesalers closer together and look for mutual opportunities. Next up, Helen's going to talk about the change in demand and give you some consumer insights on what's going on. But we've really seen a big uptake in local and regional products, and we've come together with the Scottish Wholesale Association, Scotland Food and Drink, and ourselves at SWA to develop a program to try and create increased business opportunities for both producers and wholesalers. And to do that, we've secured some funding from Scottish Government through the Scotland Food and Drink Recovery Programme, and also the Scottish Wholesale Association are putting in funding to bring this program forward. And so that means it's free to you guys to attend what we're about to talk about. And we've got a whole program of different things. We're heading towards a Meet the Wholesaler event early in 2022, and that will help to lead on to the potential to get listings with wholesalers and attend their trade shows in perhaps April, May. So our overall aim in this program is to try and increase the volume of Scottish regional local products listed in the wholesale sector. So yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so we've got two parallel streams of activity happening. One for yourselves as producers and one for wholesalers. For yourselves, we've got this webinar today. We've already done a producer survey to understand your needs and your challenges with the wholesale sector. And this webinar will lead on to a series of two half-day workshops and then some one-to-one support if you want to progress into the wholesale sector, leading to this Meet the Wholesaler, Meet the Buyer event next year. Next slide, please. And so the wholesale content follows a similar sort of a program. We've already had a wholesaler webinar, and we are having workshops with them in October time. And what we're trying to do with those, well, whilst we're helping you understand the wholesale sector, we're helping the wholesale sector understand how to deal as best they can with local and regional suppliers. And we're also asking them to supply buddying support and mentoring support to help you progress where necessary. And again, they will engage with the wholesale event, the Meet the Wholesale event next year. Next slide, please. So yeah, this slide just basically shows you the two parallel work streams. We will come back to you with dates on workshops and one-to-one support, and leading into this January-February time for the Meet the Wholesaler event. So I hope that gives you an overview. We're going to go into now a bit of detail on the consumer and the way the world has changed with local products, and then also on to John to give you more detail about the program. But hopefully that just gives you an overview for just now. So I'll hand back to Helen.
Thanks, Fergus. Hopefully that gives you a good taster of what we've got planned. Through the next slides, I'm going to talk some more about the size of the opportunity that wholesale presents in Scotland and sectors that wholesalers provide access to. It's important I acknowledge my sources. The insights data in my slides has been provided by the Knowledge Bank. Our Knowledge Bank team bring insight specialists from across the Scotland Food and Drink Partnership together into one place to support your business. The service is free for all businesses within the Scottish food and drink supply chain, and you can mail the email address shown there on screen to get set up with a login and get access to an ever-growing variety of insight reports. It's free. In my opinion, you'd be daft not to at least have a look. So let's start by focusing on the overall channel. So Scottish Wholesale turns over a pretty stonking £2.9 billion annually. There are approximately 130 wholesaler distribution depots located the length and breadth of Scotland. So Scotland's served by a wide variety of wholesale businesses. Of course, there are several national wholesalers with multiple depots. We've also got regional wholesalers. Many of those specialise in supplying a particular product area. We've got category specialists, and there are plenty of wholesalers that operate their own retail fascias. What I didn't realise before I got involved in this project is that over 90% of the number of Scottish wholesalers are in fact family-run SMEs. The logos you've got here are just a representative sample of the businesses operating here. It isn't one size fits all. You need to find the wholesalers that cover the areas, the sectors, the temperature regimes that you need. So as part of the project, you'll get help to identify the wholesalers that are best placed to support your specific business needs. When considering wholesale, it's really important to look at who the wholesalers are selling to. So this slide here shows the split of business within the UK wholesale channel. So you can see there's 72,000 retailers shopping in wholesale, 362,000 catering businesses, and the split's going to be largely the same when you look at Scotland. Within that, the share of sales within wholesale, 54% of it is accounted for by retailers, though I need to put a caveat in there that tobacco is included in those figures, and that massively inflates them because typically a convenience store would sell about 25% of their sales through tobacco. You've got 34% of the sales going through food service, and then 11% personal business users. The key message I want to get over with this slide is the fact that hospitality, food service, retail convenience, and public sector and contract caterers, they're almost exclusively serviced by wholesale. They're all significant markets, and to access them, you really need to be engaging with wholesalers. Retail accounts for 54% of the wholesale channel, and the majority of that is convenience retail. There are over 5,000 convenience stores in Scotland. The box at the bottom refers to the UK split within convenience. So again, it'll be largely replicated in Scotland. So you've got 40% there of independents. 32% of those stores are being run by symbol groups. So you're talking Key Store, Nicer, One Stop, Cost Cutter. And then 28% of those convenience stores are being run by multiples. So you're talking supermarket operators, their convenience fascias. So you can see that most of those multiples have got central distribution, but the vast majority of the rest are sourcing via wholesale. So of that 5.3 billion of Scottish convenience store turnover that I talked about, 1.38 billion of that is generated by food and drink. So we talked about the fact that non-food does account for a lot of convenience store turnover. We're talking about 47% between non-food, and that's including obviously tobacco and magazines. So through lockdown, we've seen the convenience sector grow ahead of the overall market, and it's become increasingly important to consumers. Convenience stores are increasingly offering services to make themselves hubs within their communities. So cash points and post offices are commonplace, and we're seeing increasingly sophisticated food to go ranges within the sector. I know our local petrol filling station's now got Dunkin' Donuts, it's got self-service slush and milkshakes, and obviously bean-to-cup coffee, which they all seem to have now. Convenience operators are really open to innovation, they're fleet of foot, and they're quick to adopt new trends. I'm not sure that the food service market needs as much of a sell. I had a massively complicated slide about the UK market to show you, but I think what you really need to know is that total food and drink sales in the out-of-home market in Scotland are worth 4.6 billion. Clearly, food service has had a very difficult time since March 2020. In a typical year, the food service sector in Great Britain was worth about 90 billion, and 2020 sales were down 48.5%. And it's really difficult, you can see from this slide, to predict where 2021 will come out. But this slide gives some scenarios. Certainly, current signs suggest that the market is currently in recovery and growing steadily, but that competition for customers is pretty fierce, and the operators are keen to be seen to give consumers what they're looking for. So keep an eye on the knowledge bank for more information in depth about this sector. I'm keen not to make this presentation death by data, so I'm not going to go into contract and public sector catering numbers, but if this is a sector that you're interested in and keen to pursue, we can support you with that if you choose to get involved in the programme. Excuse me. So, as part of the programme, we'll direct you to relevant data to support arguments for local listings. You can be assured, however, that the wholesalers will also be hearing these arguments from us in the work that we're doing with them. I'm not going to go into lots of detail now, but I wanted to share this slide in terms of consumer data. We all know how much sustainability has grown in the public conscience. And here you can see that 40% of Scots state that they try to buy eco-friendly. What I think is really interesting is that a much more significant tranche of the same group of shoppers stated that they try to buy local. And Scottish consumers lead the pack on that in their support for local produce. There's been a surge in consumer appetite for local and regional sourcing, and we'll be encouraging those wholesalers that haven't already identified that of the benefits of local ranging and what it can deliver for their business. I want to touch on the fact that the pandemic and Brexit have had a significant impact on wholesale channel. It's caused them to take stock, to acknowledge how local suppliers supported them when availability of key brands just wasn't there, and to recognise the increasing value that consumers are now placing on provenance. It's caused a change of attitudes. This project was driven by wholesalers. There's an appetite amongst them to stock more local products. The Scottish Wholesale Association have conducted research amongst their members, and we know that 55% of wholesalers in Scotland urgently want to increase their local food offering. We know that there are some challenges that you face around working with wholesalers, and thank you to all of those who responded to our poll looking for feedback. I want to make sure that we get the message across that this project has two strands. One is to support you, producers, in maximising the opportunities that wholesale presents, and feeding back what wholesalers tell would make local sourcing easier for them. But the second strand is working with wholesalers to help them understand and address the challenges that have made the channel less appealing for some producers in the past. Wholesalers are engaged. We've got funding to support both producers and wholesalers to work together for mutual benefit. So if there's one message I want you to take away, it's that now is the time to be considering wholesale as a key route to market, or looking at how you can develop your business further with wholesale. I'm going to pass now over to John, who's going to talk you through what you can expect from the workshops.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. So I'm going to give us a summary overview of the content of the workshops. Today I'm representing the Scottish Wholesale Association, and I've been privileged to be working with the team at SWA and Scotland Food and Drink on the project, as well as the team at the Scottish Wholesale Association and the 8 wholesalers who have been actively involved in the development of the programme. So who is the programme for? So the programme is for producers of all sizes, including startups all the way through to national Scottish producers. Those producers new to the channel, those who may be struggling with the wholesale channel or have had bad experiences in the past, those producers who don't fully appreciate the potential or even know about the channel, and those producers looking to improve their understanding of the wholesale channel and develop stronger relationships with their wholesalers. And the people it's really tailored for within your business is the business owners, the directors of the business, those people who are directly responsible for developing your strategic growth plans, and senior managers from your sales and marketing team. And so why take part in this project? Really, as we all very well know, over the last 18 months or so, the world has changed very quickly. And the demand for local and regional produce has been steadily growing for quite a number of years now. But in recent months, over the course of the last 2 years, this has been accelerated significantly thanks to the pandemic and Brexit. And the Scottish Wholesale members recognise this with this project. The programme is intended to help align wholesalers and producers better, and is directly related to wider issues such as environmental, social responsibility, the local economies, and community interests. So there are 4 key stages in the workshop, which we'll look to cover over 2 half-day workshops. And importantly, this is at no cost to you. So next slide, please. So the programme is not prescriptive, and it recognises every producer and every wholesaler is unique and have unique resources and limitations. But it gives insight into the world of the wholesaler and their ways of working and added value that they can bring to your business. It helps you understand what a wholesaler does and the reach that they can give your business. It highlights the size of the prize when done well. And the wholesalers are not just a box mover and are distinctly different from a carrier or a transport company or haulier, as Gary McLean eloquently put it, our former national chef in the video. Next slide, please. So the workshop is split into 4 parts, and we'll have guest speakers to illustrate what success looks like. Part 1 looks at the wholesale channel itself versus other route to market options available to you as a producer. It looks at various food journeys, and it looks to dispel some of the myths surrounding the wholesalers and gives an insight into some of the language used by the channel. Next slide, please. Part 2 looks at how ready you are to enter the wholesale channel or develop more effectively within it, looking at areas such as pricing strategies, your true cost to deliver, understanding what your offer is, and what resources you have to call on, be they samples, people, skills, promotions, point of sale, merchandising expertise, or product knowledge, etc. We will then have a breakout session where we'll have a group exercise to help shape your understanding of the channel and where your business sits in relation to it. Then coming back together again to look at part 3. Next slide, please. Thank you. So in part 3, we'll look at engagement with the wholesaler and the tools you should use prior to interacting with them, such as researching their market and identifying best fit wholesale partners for your business. We look at the importance of having joint business plans with wholesalers, or in other words, a framework working together with them. We will be discussing the development of the Scottish Wholesale Association directory and how best to utilise it for you. We will look at communication and its importance for both parties, a contentious area for some of you, I know. We look at how to create a strong business-to-business relationship, and we touch on some of the challenges facing both the producer but also the wholesaler too. Next slide, please. And then the final part, part 4, looks at mainly towards the future and the nurturing of those relationships and the execution of effective joint business plans. We will then have a second breakout session where we will look at a self-audit tool to help you gauge your own individual business capabilities or gaps in your offer or limitations in your resources. Ultimately, giving you greater clarity of the channel, how to prepare to enter it, how to approach it in a more strategic and focused way, and to better leverage the assets that you do have, whatever they may be, and positively and profitably grow your business. Next slide, please. So in summary, the key content, and importantly, again, I'll have to reiterate this, it's been designed by the Scottish Wholesale Association members, ranging from regional operators up to national and covering the whole geography of Scotland. And it's a dual programme for producers and wholesalers alike, helping you understand the significant opportunity wholesale has to offer, the mutual benefits in growing local and regional ranges, and a programme that is aligned with the wider economic, environmental and social issues. And it will take 2 half days out of your business. And finally, the key benefits for you are helping to demystify the wholesale channel, aiding a more strategic and focused approach to wholesale, identifying tools and resources that can be best used, building meaningful joint business plans with the wholesalers, maintaining positive long-term business relationships, and preparing you in the short term to meet the wholesaler events in the new year, but also future events in the spring. There will also be tailored an opportunity for tailored one-to-one support for those producers who need it. Again, just to reiterate, this is at no cost to you other than taking 2 half days out of your busy schedule. So I'd like to thank you for attending the webinar, and I would actively encourage you to get involved in the programme. Remember, this is a programme that's been developed by the wholesale channel itself for your benefit, and run in parallel with a work stream that is educating the wholesalers as well. I'd now like to hand back to Helen for a Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Right, I'm going to end this screen share and we'll move to the question and answer session. I hope you're not just going to leave it to me though, John. I'm hoping you're going to turn up for that too. So I think Alan's joined us for the question and answer session. He's been keeping an eye on the Q&A function, and he's going to compare this little area for us. Filter the questions and direct them.
Yeah, I will try, but no, thanks John, Ferguson, Helen. I hope that has provided everyone with a useful taster into the opportunity that the programme will offer. And it is quite an exciting opportunity. So we've got 4 or 5 questions that have come in. I think the first one is for you, Helen. And it says, do you need to have accreditation to take part?
The simple answer is no. There are wholesalers, obviously, that are going to be involved in the programme that will require accreditation. When we run the Meet the Buyer session, that will make sure it's clear in all of the profiles for the wholesalers who does require accreditation. For those of you who don't have it, you'll know to be able to either avoid them or have a conversation about that. Some of the larger wholesalers have got their own technical departments and will run audits for producers if they really want to work with them and they don't have accreditation. So it shouldn't be a barrier to getting involved.
Great. Well, talking about other things that may or may not be barriers, which I hope they aren't. So there's a question for John. Is this just for startups or for every business?
No, this is for all Scottish producers, startups, artisan, medium-sized and national producers in Scotland. The national producers have equal challenges to smaller producers in understanding the sector, because it is quite markedly different to the export channels and the multiple channels. So it's for everybody, whether you're dealing with wholesalers currently or you're looking to deal with wholesalers in the future.
Yeah, good. I think we'll find there's some case studies to follow that will demonstrate John's point very elegantly, I think. Okay, Fergus, one for you. I think looking for a bit more detail here in terms of, is there going to be support available beyond the Meet the Buyer wholesaler event?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've got this initial focus of activity to try and get everyone up to speed, but we're working towards wholesaler trade shows and listings. So trade shows in April, May, potential listings in May, and this is the start of the process. So we're really looking to be in a position to support this for a number of years to try and drive change and get more benefit for producers and more listings with wholesalers. So no, there's initial splurge of activity, but yeah, there'll be ongoing support available.
Yeah, okay, and hot off the press, this one from Virginia. That's not Virginia the state, that's Virginia in Argyll. Are the workshops going to be online or face-to-face? Good question. And I think we could also add in, is the Meet the Buyer going to be online or face-to-face? I'll ask Helen.
Current expectation is that these activities will be online, but interesting to get your thoughts on what's your preference really, but current thoughts are online.
Yeah, and what about the Meet the Buyer? Is that likely to be online as well, or?
Similarly, we're trying to manage kind of the time required to attend, and we're certainly getting good feedback, particularly from businesses that are like geographically a bit further flung, that they like the idea of like online. But as I say, we're open to hearing what people prefer.
Okay, and John, obviously it's good we've got the programme. Is there any indication of when the dates might be released as to when we can do this? Obviously, I know we're all dealing with a COVID situation, but could you give us a bit more enlightenment, John?
On the workshops?
Yeah, the dates when they're likely to be.
So the workshops, the wholesaler work stream is working about a month ahead of the producer work stream in order to make sure that the wholesalers understand expectations from you, the producers. So we have tentatively got dates at the back end of October, which we can firm up. There are a few challenges operationally because of resource issues that we're all experiencing just now. But we're targeting the back end of October, so 25th, 28th of October for the producer workshops. But we will firm that up, and then the Meet the Wholesaler events will be the back end of January into February. Again, it's proving to be challenging in terms of scheduling resource because of the disruption that we're all faced just now.
Sure. Obviously, there's a lot of enthusiasm for this. So Helen, for you, can you take part if you're already working with wholesalers?
Yes, this isn't just for people not working with wholesalers at the moment. If you want to sort of develop your business with wholesalers, then absolutely you're welcome as part of this program.
Yeah. And I'm gonna ask Fergus this one, although I'm sure John would like to answer it, but Fergus has been involved in the program from the start. So, I mean, and it's a good question, but are the wholesalers genuinely behind this initiative?
Yeah, no, well, I've been around supply chain issues for a long time, and I feel we've got real genuine enthusiasm from the wholesalers. 8 of them are the key prominent ones are on the sort of board to sort of steer this process to try and make sure it happens. And they're really looking to engage and understand and change. So I think even for people who've had a negative experience with a wholesaler in the past, this is an opportunity to re-engage, and the Scottish Wholesale Association is right behind it, putting funding into it. So I think there's absolute genuine desire to list more Scottish products.
Sure, and it does seem a market opportunity for everybody, producers and wholesalers alike. Got a question here on alcohol. quite early in the morning, but anyway, do all wholesalers deal with alcohol, or are there specialist experts out there, John?
Not all wholesalers deal with alcohol. However, the combination of we will have, as part of the workshop, some simple tools to be able to identify which ones they are. All wholesalers who have a licensed, you can actually get that list of who's licensed to handle alcohol, but it's quite a broad category in itself, whether it's out of home or on trade or off trade. But with the development of the SWA directory and the education piece within the workshop, it will become a lot easier to identify those wholesalers that are relevant to you, whether it's alcohol, fresh produce, frozen foods, specialist produce, etc.
Good, and we'll be able to give lots of detail and information as part of the workshops, and that was part of the question as well. So that's great. Somebody's asking who the 8 key wholesalers are that are on our group, but I don't know if you want to let us know, John, or give us a description of the group.
We had there's 8 wholesalers, and they've been specifically selected to give. The wholesale sector is quite diverse in size and disciplines, but we wanted to reflect contributions from all areas of wholesale. So we have regional independents, we have wholesalers who are servicing rural and urban areas, who are servicing contract catering, local authority catering, food service and retail, from family business all the way up to national. So it's a broad representation of the whole wholesale sector.
Yeah, great, and they are thinking as one, which is excellent. Okay, I think that's the questions. So I'm going to hand back to Helen. Over to you to finish off.
Right, let me quickly share my screen. It's really just over to me to say thank you to everyone for coming along, and to give you a little bit more detail on next steps, which is coming now. So there you go. We'll be holding 2 half-day workshops, as we've already mentioned, and all producers taking part in the workshops, they'll be given priority sign up for the Meet the Wholesaler event that we'll be running early next year. You can see we've got some proposed dates there, as we've mentioned, with the challenges out there for both wholesalers and producers. We're just reviewing those dates at the moment. You should hear from us in the next couple of weeks with a better idea of firming those up. And when we do that, we'll explain how to sign up. And I just say keep an eye on your emails and our social media. So that's that of Scotland Food and Drink, SAOS, or the Scottish Wholesale Association will all share the information. That'll give you details of how to sign up. And we really hope to see lots of you engaging with this project. I think it's a really exciting collaboration, and we hope to see you there. Thanks very much for attending.